long time since I slept 8 hours, and I slept 8 hours last night. So what do y'all think? Did we have a good one? Huh? Yeah. Well, you know what? When we set it up and did a sound check, that day, it was not windy. And the wind just,
kept everything up.
it did. It really did. And it really messed things up on the paperwork up there, trying to shuffle that around and get it all straightened out. But that's okay. You know, the Lord blessed anyway. It was good. It was good. Maybe not as big a crowd as I was hoping for, but it was still good. So. He did not win. No, he did not win. And we had good singing, good fellowship, and testimonies.
Brother Steve, if you think about it this way, Jesus was one person. He came down, he got 12 people to spread the word, and that spread and spread and spread. So all those people that came yesterday, if they tell everybody, and it would spread and spread and spread, then next year more people will come.
That's a good thought. Jesus went around spreading the word. So we need to spread the word, and everybody else that hears the word needs to spread the word. And that's just the way it goes. That's the light that shines. Any questions on anything before we get started?
Yeah, what chapter are we in?
What's that?
What chapter are we in? I haven't been here long.
We're still in chapter 2.
Chapter 2 of what? 3.
We're at 3. Judges.
Did we finish 2?
No.
We've been in 3 for
Judges 3:18.
Verse 3,
18th verse.
chapter 3.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Othniel.
18.
Othniel.
Got it on?
Got it marked on 18.
Okay. My little paper's in the wrong page.
Yeah.
All right. 18? 3, huh?
She's got 8.
8. No, we're past 8.
Yeah, we're on 18.
Yeah, we're on 18.
Yeah.
Where Israel did evil in the sight of God again is starts on 12, and we talked about that.
We got the
And then okay, let me start with verse 15. If there's no questions on anything. Verse 15. Now we know that Israel got themselves into trouble by doing evil in the sight of the Lord. And then the Lord sent down a leader, a judge, which was a military leader actually, that led them out of captivity. And they were in captivity for 18 years the first time, and the second time they was in captivity for 40 years. So it seemed like it just got worse. Every time they do something bad, it got worse for them. But then he would send down another leader and lead them out. Verse 15 says, "But when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord raised them up a deliverer, Ehud, the son of Jerah, a Benjamite, a man left-handed, and by him the children of Israel sent a present unto Eglon, the king of Moab. But Ehud made him a dagger which had 2 edges of a cubit length, and he did gird it under his raiment upon his right thigh." Y'all know how long a cubit is?
3 feet.
Huh? 18 inches. It's an average of 18 inches. It's from elbow to fingertip is a cubit. And so it's a cubit back then was always different with each man. But it's an average, they just called it an average of 18 inches.
And he wore it on his side like a gun.
He wore it under his dagger, under his cloak. Yeah. He had it hid. He had it hid. And it says here that Israel sent a present to this king. Now, I'm not really sure about that. You want to hear my thoughts on it?
Yeah.
It's just my thoughts because I don't know. It seemed like back then that when you went to a king, because I've seen this on TV a lot, I guess, they brought him presents. Just a love offering, a gift, or something like that. And that's what they were doing to this I'm going to call him a scoundrel, okay? He was no good. But the guy that took him the present, Ehud, he had a dagger in here, hid when he took him the present. And let's read on and see what happens. And he brought the present unto Eglon, king of Moab, and Eglon was a very fat man. Must have been a big guy. And when he had made an end to offer the present, he sent away the people that bear the present. So everybody left, sent him away. Everybody left the room, and just them two in the room is the way I gather this. He said, but he himself turned again from the quarries that were by Gilgal, and said, I have a secret errand unto thee, O king, who said, keep silence. And all that stood by him went out from him. So that's when he said, keep silence, he made him leave the room. Ehud came unto him, and he was sitting in the summer parlor, which he had for himself alone. Now let's think about who this was. Ehud was the judge. Ehud was the military leader that God sent to deliver Israel. First thing I thought about was this. This man is going there by himself, not even taking an army to do what he's about to do. And he said, which he had made for himself, and he had said, I have a message from God unto thee. And he arose out of his seat. This is scary, guys. I'm going to explain this to you. Ehud put forth his left hand and took the dagger from his right hand and thrust it into his belly. And the haft also went in after the blade. The handle went in after the blade, and the blade was this long, and it went in, plus the handle went in, and the haft also went in after the blade, and the fat closed upon the blade, so that he could not draw the dagger out of his belly, and the dirt came out. That thing went in so deep into his belly, into the fat, that he couldn't grab it to pull it out. He's a big man, had to be, because that had to be probably 24 inches long with the handle and everything. So he had to be a huge guy. He said, so that he could not draw the dagger out from his belly, and the dirt came out. He died. Then Ehud went forth through the porch and shut the doors of the parlor upon him and locked them. Snuck out the back door. Killed him and left. Let's back up here. I want to explain this. When he said, I have a message from you from God. This man was doing evil. This man was no good. This man was the king of, what was he? He was a Benjamite. No, he was I don't know what he was the king of. King of Moab. And when you are in that position to where you are doing evil and you are hurting God's people, God will have a message for you. I thought about this, and I think about exactly what's going on in this world today. God's going to have a message for these people. We now know what the message is. This has not changed. This has not changed. God is the same today, yesterday, and forever. He will not change, and people will not change Him and change the meaning of what He says. When He says something, that's it. Now, we think on a different time limit than what God does. We think God's He's going to deliver us from whatever that's bothering us right now tomorrow. No, it may not be tomorrow. Israel was in captive for 40 years. You yourself personally may be in captivity of something. And you may have been there for a long time right now. Stick with God. Brother Frank said it earlier this morning, the best way to do this is to thank the Lord for everything He's ever done for you. Don't think about the bad stuff. Think about the good stuff that He's done for you. Let Him deliver you from whatever's irritating you right now. Don't think about nothing that kind of stuff. Think about what He's done for us. Let Him deliver us in His time, not ours. We already know we're going through it, whatever it is. He knows that. And He knows the purpose of it. When you get into the military, Brother Rod, Rusty, when you get into the military, you got to go through basic training, don't you? That's tough. I hear it is. I hear some of that stuff is really bad, but they put you through that because of what's coming. They're getting you ready for what you're going to have to do. God gets us ready for what we're going to have to go through. He makes us stronger by letting us go through this stuff, and He said He wouldn't put anything on us that we can't bear. So when He's training us for this, He's not going to break us down. He won't do that, Brother Frank. He knows when we've reached our limit. Then He will deliver us. Just like that. And literally, it's just like that. Because when He moves, it doesn't take time. He does it right now. He lets us do these things and go through these things for a purpose. And we got to remember that. And if it's somebody that is persecuting us, or some group, or even some country that's persecuting us, God has a message for them. It's coming. We don't know when. We don't know how. We don't know anything. But God does, and He will deliver us. When I say us, who am I talking about? I'm talking about God's people. Yes. I'm talking about actual, true Christian people that live for God in this country. They will be delivered. I'm not talking about the country of the United States. I don't know about that. God may deliver the United States too from something. I don't know. It seems like, in my own thoughts, that He is because of what's going on. I don't want to get political here, but it sure does seem like God's moving. And I praise the Lord for that. I thank Him for that. Because our country, and I told my wife this morning, our country was founded on Christianity, conservatism. It's not a liberal, whatever you want to call it, evil, worshiping God's thing. It's not. But they're trying to change it into that. Communism. I said that this morning too. I said that's communistic. That's not us. That's not what God founded this country on. That's not what our forefathers set it up to be like. It's with this is what they set the country up with. And it's time to get back to it, like the song we sang yesterday. It's time to go back. It's been way past time to go back. But we have to do it as Christians. Everybody seems like is waiting for the other fella to do it. We need to do it. This church needs to do it. Y'all don't know, but people in this town talk about us. People have come to me and told me that they talk about us. They are so happy we're doing what we're doing. They are tickled pink that we have set this up and cleaning things up and making it pretty and all this stuff. And a couple of them said something to me about, we are so glad you're doing this singing thing out here because people need this stuff. People need to stand up and do it. And we did. And we need to keep doing it. Regardless of how we feel about it, if God says do it, we do it. God has all the commandments wrote down that we need to do. And if we follow these commandments the best that we can, then He's going to talk to us and tell us what He wants us to do as a people. He will, folks. I already told you this, but this is how it works. When I was sick, I believed with all of my heart He told me, have a singing. I didn't know how to do it, didn't know how to start, didn't know anything about it. Never done it before, but we're going to do it. He said do it. I still believe He said do it. Now, I was disappointed in the crowd, but He said do it. He already knew what the crowd was going to be. He knew who was going to be there and why. And He knew why we were singing. And it may be something that happens 6 months from now because of this singing. We don't know. But God said do it. What else is He saying to do? I'm putting somebody else in charge. I don't know, but we're waiting on Him. We just got to. We cannot be afraid to stand up against the wiles of this world and show our Christianity. We cannot be ashamed of that. Because if we are, then He's going to be ashamed of us. I seen that this morning. Rodney posted something about being ashamed of the Lord. He'll be ashamed of you up there. I don't want that. And I don't want to be in a position where Israel was back then. I don't want to fall away from Christianity and be in captivity for 10 years, 30 years, 40, 50 years. I'm not going to live that much longer. And if I'm in that position when I die, I'm done. I don't get to go to heaven. Whatever state you die in, that's the state that you're going to raise up and face the judgment. If I die lost a sinner, I'm going to go to heaven and stand before the judge as a sinner. And I will have no defense. None. You had your chance while you was down there, buddy, and you didn't get right. Yeah, but. No yeah buts. You're guilty. Bind him and cast him into everlasting darkness. Bind him hand and foot. Throw him in the lake of fire. Get rid of him. I don't even know who he is. That's what I'm going to hear if I die lost like that. Scary is right, yes. But you know, a lot of people, they don't fear that. I'm getting out of this, ain't I? They don't fear it. They think, I've been told this by a lost person. Not yet, I got time. Really? Where'd you read that at? You don't have time. I don't say that to them, but they don't have time. Well, I'm a good person. I ain't never done nothing wrong. How many people are saying that in this world? I'm a good person. God ain't going to send me to hell. He's a just God. He's not going to send you to hell. He's going to let you go on your own. He's allowing you to do that. He's not. Satan's the one that's doing this to you. He just says you can't come where I'm at. You're choosing for yourself to go to hell. Good person or not good person. My dad said that for I don't know how many years he said it. He said that to, I remember me and Tommy Hilton was in the car with him going to work one day. He said, well, I ain't never doing nothing bad. I don't do nothing bad. And Tommy was letting him have it. He said, yeah, but Jack, you got to let him put the blood on your heart, and you got to accept him and let everybody know. I don't have to do that. I said, yeah, you do, Dad. I was in the back seat. I remember it like it was yesterday. And then there was another time that it was just me and Dad. And I was driving, we was coming home, and we was talking about it, and he was getting upset about it and everything. He said, stop the car, let me out. I said, no, I'm not stopping the car, letting you out. I'll get you home first. But you could tell, he thought he was okay, and he really wanted to be okay, but he just didn't want to do this part, you know? And I was the same way. I didn't want to do that part either. I sit way back there. And my brother Mark said, get closer to the front. It ain't as far to go. So I did. But anyway, if we don't have that blood applied, we can't go. And we need to stay in the will of the Lord. And Israel didn't do that. Verse 23 said, then Ehud went forth through the porch and shut the doors of the parlor upon him and locked them. So he went out and locked the doors behind him, and everybody thought that them two was in there. All of his people thought they were in there talking. So he was gone out. His servants came, and when they saw that, behold, the doors of the parlor were locked, they said, surely he covereth his feet in his summer chamber. Now, I looked that up to see what they're talking about there. And here's exactly, without getting too personal or whatever, they just thought he was in a bathroom. That's what that means. So they said, well, we'll just wait a little bit. And they tarried until they were ashamed, and behold, when it says ashamed, means worried. They waited long enough to where they thought they started getting worried about it. And behold, they opened the doors of the parlor, and therefore they took a key and opened them, and behold, their Lord was fallen down dead on the earth. Judgment had been pronounced on this guy. The message was, you're going to die today. And Ehud escaped while they tarried, and passed beyond the quarries, and escaped unto Seirath. And it came to pass, when he was come, that he blew the trumpet in the mountain of Ephraim, and the children of Israel went down with him from the mount, and he before them, which he led them down. And he said unto them, follow after me, for the Lord hath delivered your enemies, the Moabites, into your hand. Is it that late already? Oh, it sure is. Into your hand. So God delivered them. He did it by himself. Now, we'll just finish it. Let me read it to the end of the verse, or end of the chapter. And they slew of Moab at that time 10,000 men, all lusty, and all men of valor, and there escaped not a man. So there was 10,000, if you want to put it this way, there was 10,000 soldiers that they went after and killed them all. Never left one. Ehud went in first, killed the leader. What happens when you kill somebody's leader? They're weak. And that's what he did. So that's why they was able to kill the 10,000. See, God had this all planned out. He knew. You take care of the leader, the rest of it's going to come easy. So Moab was subdued that day under the hand of Israel, and the land had rest 80 years. That's 80 years. So now Israel was at peace, and everything was okay for 80 years. And after him was Shamgar, the son of Anath, which slew of the Philistines 600 men with an ox goad, and he also delivered Israel. So that was the next judge, the next leader. And he took care of 600 men with an ox goad by himself. Oh, yeah, I better shut up. Okay, Bob, I got the message. Okay. Huh? I'm going to look it up. Does anybody know what an ox goad is? You'd like to have one? I don't know what it is. I'm going to look it up, though. It's 1,000. One day up there is like 1,000 years down here. So, yeah, we can't think the way God thinks, because He thinks in that many years. Sorry, Bob.
No reason to be sorry. Not everybody's out here yet. Let's all stand and be dismissed in a word of prayer. I'm going to ask if Brother Braxton will dismiss us this morning.
Thank you, Lord, for being here with us today, and thank you for everything that you have done for us, and that hopefully the service goes pretty well today. And we love you all, amen.